see. Timer. I'm resident of Collinwood, Joel Sains, joined by my buddy Mark Gillman, and joined by my buddy Daniel Culver. We're here to discuss Friday the 13th, Part 5, a new beginning. But before we do that, we're going to discuss some Dark Shadows. Catherine Lee Scott gave an interview saying that the new Dark Shadows series will most likely be picked up this year. So I got to ask you both, where do either of you see it being picked up at? What streaming service?
I'm gonna go with Hulu.
Yeah.
Because they have the revival series on there, or at least they did.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I'm thinking probably Tubi.
I was thinking possibly Tubi too, but I'm not really sure because, that's one of the free services. That's not really a bad thing, but I kind of feel that most people don't consider that one of the main ones.
Tubi does make money, but they don't. It's not like with Tubi, it's a free app. It's not like Netflix or like Paramount where you're paying for those apps, right? You're paying for those streaming services. You're not paying for Tubi to have it.
Right.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Peacock, NBC. And here's why. Not too long ago, I think at the end of last year, maybe sometime, I think it was last year, the Barnabas Collins arc got added to their streaming service. Now,
okay.
Now, does that mean anything? Hell no. I want to make that very clear when I make my pick. Does that mean anything? Hell to the no. But at the same time, I found that because keep in mind, Peacock, well, actually, it was NBC who initially did want this very series that's being shopped around. So I find it, I'll say, suspicious that they put the Barnabas Collins arc on there. Now, again, I'm not saying it's going to be on Peacock. I'm not saying that that's for certain. I'm not saying that it's fact. I'm saying that it's my opinion. I could be wrong, and I do tend to be wrong. We're all going straight to Diablos for these picks, Oh my god. We're gonna meet the guy with the hood and the thick glasses, and we're just
gonna,
we're gonna have to talk to him like, hey, yeah, that glare you got coming off your glasses, yeah, dude, that's really shiny. Can you remove those?
Yeah.
Oh god. But it's nice to know that it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah. I agree.
It really is. So
I agree too.
We'll see where it gets picked up at. I do find the Tubi choice interesting now because if you notice, Tubi is starting to pay for its own original series.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it outside the possibility? No, it's not. But my thing of that would be, okay, where I believe Tubi's getting a lot of its money from its commercial advertisers. Because if you notice, there are a lot of commercials whenever you watch something, whether it's a movie or a series on there. So I think a lot of their money is coming from their commercial advertisers. But does that mean they could afford a series like a Dark Shadows? I have no clue. And I don't want to lead anyone on. So, but there's a lot of, I think Hulu's a great selection that Daniel gave because I could see it. Now, the Revival series, it was on there, but it hasn't been on there for some time. Now, I sort of wonder though too, because NBC was the one that aired the Revival originally in its original run. Mm-hmm. Now, let me say this: if we see the Revival on NBC anytime soon, raise your suspicions antenna further upward.
Right. I think the last time I saw it, it was available on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But I guess in a way, it's wishful thinking for me to be on Tubi, because I would think that they would try really hard and put forth a lot of effort and not have so much interference as a service like Peacock.
Yeah.
Because as much as I like NBC, they are notorious for a lot of studio interference on a lot of their shows, and they've canceled more shows, I think, than any other network. They're very quick to cancel things. So I would like to see something like Tubi to be able to, really put forth a lot of effort to make something and not have, too much interference.
Well, here's the thing too. So if you notice too, so is Netflix. Netflix has been really quick to cancel some things, and it's just
especially lately.
It's just like I'm not saying I don't want Dark Shadows to go to a streaming service, not at all. But I wouldn't know. I'm sort of hoping in his negotiations that Mark B. Perry is saying, okay, if you cancel it on your streaming service, then let me make sure I can find a cable provider right before you do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping there's some sort of language in whatever contract is going to be drawn up for whichever streaming service he takes it to, or or picks it up. Again, I don't know. We don't know. We don't know if what streaming service will pick it up. We're not fortune tellers here,
Right.
but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, let's get to some Friday the 13th, part 5.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy Jarvis is a little more grown up. He's not a little boy no more. But it actually, before we get to the, I guess, is this the teenager Tommy Jarvis? Would you guys say?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say late teens, maybe around 20, 21, maybe.
Yeah. We see a return of Corey Feldman a bit in the flashback. And I love this because this is basically the setup for Jason Lives too.
Mm-hmm.
This whole little dream sequence, if you watch it carefully, here's Tommy Jarvis. He's walking through the woods. He's got his little raincoat on, and there he sees these two idiots digging up Jason's grave. Stop me if this sounds familiar, because it should.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's funny because I'm thinking, wait, this is pretty much this is almost not exactly what happens in Jason Lives, but pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason, for some reason, they decided to bury Jason with his machete because fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
I think that's how they bury everybody these days. No, they Jason stabs the dudes. He kills them. He gets up. He makes eye contact with Tommy. Tommy's in fears as Jason's walking over to him, and hey, eventually Tommy wakes up. But really interesting opening sequence. What did you guys think of it?
I thought it was pretty interesting too.
Yeah, same. I kind of got a little bit of a Frankenstein vibe. And I thought it was a pretty good fake out, because going into it the first time a few years ago when I watched it, I didn't I was thinking that this, was really where they were going to pick up from. That
Yeah.
Corey Feldman was going to be, all throughout this one again. And, I didn't know how they were going to bring Jason back after, we definitely see him dead in part 4 and Tommy chopped into bits. So, yeah, it was a good fake out.
Yeah, it really was. Now, what's really interesting here is our buddy Tommy does not have many lines in this movie. I'd say um, few and far between. I mean, he's pretty much all but mute in this movie. He says very little. Um, uh, uh, I believe he literally has like eight lines, if that. It could be less. Um, which, by the way, for those who have never seen the movie The Great Silence, the Western, go see it. Silence is a character who does not talk at all. But in this, you have Tommy Jarvis. He's actually, I like how they continue the mask making in this
Yes.
when he gets there, and he meets Reggie the Reckless. What did you guys think of how they were able to continue the continuity of Tommy? What did you guys think of Reggie?
I thought he was a good character.
Yeah.
Absolutely the best character in this movie. I love Reggie. I'm definitely team Reggie all the way on this movie.
Reggie is the real protagonist of this movie. No offense to Tommy.
Yeah. Reggie owns this movie. I love him. He's great.
Listen, that's the one kid they needed to give an M16 to because he was kicking some ass.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's really what I found really strange too is the in this movie, and there's a lot of strange stuff, and I'm not trying to jump around, is the disappear like because he's not there. Is the disappearance of he goes on him and the other guy, Reggie's grandpa go out to look for some missing counselors or missing kids, not counselors, but missing mental patients, basically, is what they all are. But they never come back. They just ever at all, and it's because they end up getting killed. I found that very strange how they wrote them off because I'm thinking, well, wait, did they become separated during the movie? We never really get to see it. It's one of those weird moments for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think about it? Good.
Oh yeah, I actually agree with you.
Yeah, same here.
What did you guys think of what's the guy's name? Oh, good. The ambulance driver who's going to be our killer in this movie.
Actually, I thought that was a pretty interesting idea. His son gets killed and he wants revenge.
Yeah, Roy Burns.
Mm-hmm. And I said it once before. I was kind of on his side because I mean, for them to run a camp like this for troubled teens, and for them to give an axe to the guy with obvious anger issues, yeah, they got what was coming to them. I'm actually on Roy's side in this movie.
Roy Burns understands that there are many people who understand Pamela's pain. One, Tommy Jarvis, and
Yes.
two, Roy Burns.
Yes.
And Roy looks like Roy looks like he's been contacted by one of the Collinsport ghosts or something because he's so pissed off.
Yeah, and you can see it, just that look when he arrives on the scene after and I can't remember the guy that's holding the axe, but he reminds me of a young Clint Eastwood, but he you can see Roy's look and it's like shock on his face, and you can see a switch, the way he's looking at him, like, you know it's not typical for, because first responders see things like this, they're trained to prepare for this, and you could see he's there's something, to this death for him.
Yeah.
And
I'm also gonna say, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine, man. I was just gonna say, and I didn't catch it the first time around, but my
Oh yeah, that's
second time
understandable.
watching this, I noticed his look a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I just want to say, like, I also feel that Joey didn't actually deserve it. I mean, he was annoying, but that's it. He was just annoying. He like didn't hurt anyone or anything.
Exactly. He had kind of a kid's mind.
Well,
Oh yeah, that's actually good way to describe it.
Well, here's my little theory for you both here. The camp, the doctors at this basically outdoor mental hospital, because you're supposed to come to Pinehurst when you're all but ready to reenter society. Honestly, look at some of these patients. Do any of them seem like they're ready to reenter society? Tommy included. No. And it lets you this Pinehurst is in a sense a crack in the system because you have look at the evaluation. The doctor, you're putting an axe in a person's hand who is borderline, who has paranoia issues, who's a lone wolf, who has anger issues, and has moments of psychosis. That's a rest. All those four are recipes for disaster. It's something bad will happen.
Yeah.
Listen. If the real Jason Voorhees were alive and did show up to this place, he'd look at this and go, they don't need me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, probably.
Like, my work is done.
like, these people are already messing shit up enough. They don't need me here. I'm going to go back to Camp Crystal Lake where I'm needed. I think there's some, premarital teens I need to go watch, but
that's right.
But they don't need me here. You guys are messing this process up enough, because that's the thing too about Pinehurst. It's not a very well run place, and really, most of them, not all, most are bad judges of character. And it starts with the two camp counselors. They're both bad judges of character. And really, the system is just allowing them to run amok. And here's the thing too: there's another hospital that's not far from where they're at. So a more major main hospital. So it's really, I hate to say, look, the movie's fun and it's entertaining as hell, and it's got really interesting characters in it. But a lot of it, when you look at it, it's all one big flaw, because here's Tommy, who they're saying, oh, he's ready to re-enter society, but when he gets there, he's anything but ready to re-enter. He's not talking to anybody. He's not socializing. I mean, if that's what he's there for, guess what? It's no one's making him do it, and no one's making an effort to do it. And Reggie. But Reggie's one person, and he doesn't have the time to just talk to one person. He's a kid. He's all over the place.
Exactly.
But go ahead. I'm rambling.
No, I'm enjoying it.
Well, what do you guys think of? Do you guys think that our main two our characters, the man and woman, Pam and the other guy, who are supposed to be evaluating these young men and women, do you think they're bad judges of character?
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. And I can try, and this is where really it's like you look at the history of psychology and there's a whole lot of trial and error. This is definitely the error side of it. I mean, I could see their logic and what they're trying to do, instead of having someone, in an institution, in a ward or whatever, trying to get them outside and, adapt it or whatever. But the thing is, they're not really putting in much effort to work with them. They're just like putting them here and letting them do whatever and roam around, and they're relatively unsupervised.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a little too loosey goosey for me. I mean, their methods.
Yeah. Daniel?
Yeah, I'd say, Mark explained it pretty well.
Yeah.
It's probably not a good idea. Like, I would say, like, maybe these people should still be in an institution,
Yeah. What's really disturbing too is when you have a killer that's like who is really insane. Like the boy with the axe snapped. He went crazy. And he was already probably going toward crazy before he did snap.
Mm-hmm.
So he snaps. He goes completely crazy. He kills somebody. Now, when you get another killer who's going to show up here, and we're planting the seeds of a whodunit all over again, which is great.
Yes.
But now when you have a killer who's smart and intelligent and who's about to kill people around him who aren't so smart and intelligent, the killer's got every advantage in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into what trips him up, really, but because he doesn't just, that's the thing, Roy Burns doesn't just kill at Packanack, if you will, or sorry, Pinehurst. He kills, he kills at a restaurant. He kills on the road. He's committing very Jason Voorhees type of murders, mimicking Jason, if you will. At least he's attempting to. I would also say he's somewhat mimicking Pamela as well at the same time. So he's really mimicking two people in a sense, which is real, which is fun. But he makes an effort to not just kill at Pinehurst, but kill outside of it. And that's what really starts to make him dangerous, because no one knows it's him. And you do get the sense that the sheriff realizes there's a murderer going on. There's someone out there is killing. What did you guys think?
Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah, he knew something was going, and I loved when he was saying, like, that one part when he was talking about the murders, and he was like, "Are you talking to me, Sheriff?" And Roy kind of gave himself away a little bit, and I didn't get it on the first time, but yeah, I kept thinking he was mimicking Pamela a lot, and who knows, Joey may have been one of the kids at Crystal Lake when he was a kid, and maybe Roy knew a lot about Jason and Pamela.
Yeah. Roy himself, is saying, "Oh, Sheriff, you talking to me?" And no, Roy, no, I'm talking to myself. Yeah. I do love the interaction between the mayor and the sheriff, because it's really telling of what does the sheriff really believe that Jason is committing the murders? And the answer is yes. At least he thinks it's Jason, because the mayor says, "Well, they cremated his body." And he says to him, "Did you watch them cremate his body, Mayor? Were you there?" Like, no, he wasn't. But it's a great interaction between two characters. I do sort of wish, because it felt like they were more trying to set up an investigation style of whodunit. But they don't do enough actual investigating. That's more left up to Pam. And really, Pam's not so much finding dead bodies necessarily isn't an investigation. Finding dead bodies while there's a killer loose just lets you know how fucked you are.
Exactly. Yes.
It's which I like. I like the fact that the writers did a really good job framing Tommy. they deserve a lot of credit for that. Because here's Tommy who's seeing, because before he sees Roy Burns dressed up as Jason outside, he sees Jason in the mirror with the bloody axe and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, he's having issues of separating real and fake. Again, he doesn't belong here. He belongs in a hospital.
Yeah.
So when he sees Roy Burns as Jason outside, he just figures it's another hallucination. He does seem to be fighting them as much as he can, but it's hard.
Uh-huh.
And the actor gets that across really well.
Yeah.
I love that. Even though he doesn't have a ton of dialogue, he deserves a lot of credit because he carries the character very well. From a mental and physical faced performance. Because again, he doesn't have a ton of dialogue. He's not talking a lot. And it's always so tough to watch a character who doesn't talk. So you sort of, you're forced to read their face and their body language a lot. And you're required to do that here for as much as he's on camera. What do you guys think? Go ahead. I'll be right back. Go ahead, guys.
Okay. I agree. Also, you guys think it's possible that Roy took inspiration from Pamela?
I think so. I think his style seemed to mimic Pamela more than Jason, but I think Jason was more well known, and it was easier to dress like Jason. But I think the way he did things was a lot more like Pamela Voorhees did.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no! I was just piggybacking on what you said. I just think that the actor that was Tommy, and I'm so sorry I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. I thought he did a great job of showing the struggle, all throughout the movie and how it kept getting worse, and how he kept having these hallucinations and things even harder, and how unstable he was. And because up until the very end, I was thinking it was Tommy the whole time. And that's what I was expecting, it to be, that it was going to be Tommy. So, yeah, I think he did a magnificent job.
I think it was that. I agree that the killer mimicked Jason's mother a bit, and mimicked the way a woodsman would kill. Somebody who was trained in the woodsman ways, because Pamela killed with objects like that too. But here's somebody who's copying Pamela and Jason's MOs literally and figuratively. But is copying the way Jason dressed because that's who people recognize. And really, as much as handsome as Roy Burns is, I don't think he'd make a great looking woman. I
don't a little eyeshadow.
Yeah, listen, if he would have wore a dress and put on some eyeshadow and tried to convince people he was a woman and he's killing, and they don't show it, like they do the over the shoulder, and they see somebody dressed. We see somebody maybe dressed in like a dress or something, or some sort of gown or something. That would have really been a mind fuck.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And that would have been great too. I'd have enjoyed the hell out of that.
Oh yeah.
I mean that would have been something.
Yeah, or at least one time for that to happen.
Right.
So it would have been kind of like that scene in Spaceballs where they captured the stunt doubles. So, yeah.
Oh shit!
If they did that idea with Roy Burns dressed like a woman, they'd have to. Well, I mean, they don't have to, but I would like to see like them have someone taking a shower. I'm sure you know where this is going.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
John Shepard played Tommy in A New Beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
I looked it up. So.
No, good. Yeah, shout out to him because I mean he deserves it. I think he did a great job. Go John.
Yeah, he did do a good job. I like the character of Pam. Really, really sympathetic character, beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a moment in time. There's a moment in this movie that is really, really telling, and it's after she comes back, and she wakes Reggie up, or she doesn't wake Reggie up, but Reggie goes upstairs and finds the bodies, and then Pam stops him and he says Tommy's room, and she goes in and she sees it. You hear her scream, and she now believes that Tommy's the murderer. Tommy has become Jason, even when she sees, the hockey mask. She believes it's Tommy. When she sees the guy in the hockey mask, this is not somebody who's questioning who it is. This is somebody who now assumes who it is. And really, if you want full evidence of this, watch when Tommy appears at the barn and Reggie says Tommy, and even Reggie's shocked. And
I was too at that moment.
Right. So Reggie's shocked. Now Pam's shocked. The audience is shocked. And it is shocking because the writers did everything to frame Tommy. What do you guys think cost Roy Burns? Where do you think Roy Burns really slipped up?
To be honest, I'm not really sure.
I don't know. I can't think of a particular moment that he did. What did you see?
When he comes back to kill Pam and Reggie. Too much.
Yeah.
Because if you really study the murders, if you're really a student of a murder, and yes, he did, but here's why he slips up. I really truly believe in Roy's mind. He's no longer believes he's Roy Burns. He really does believe he's Jason. And that's why he does come back. Yet that's where his slip up is. He comes back to kill them, and they begin fighting. They fight with him, and then Reggie takes the track bulldozer and hands him his ass.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, Reggie like pulls out some Tonka moves pulls out a Tonka truck on him.
Somebody give that kid dual 45s and give him a black hat and call him the Shadow. Jesus Christ, this kid's ready to stomp a mud hole in freaking Roy Burns,
Oh yeah,
so good. But the fact that Roy Burns, even when you watch Roy Burns in the costume, you see he touches himself to see if he's bleeding, and he acts like he's shocked. Well, why? Because Roy Burns has gone bye mentally. All the killing, even though at first he's living a dual personality. He really is. He really is trying to frame Tommy, and that's great if you are. But at the same time, every time he dons that mask, he's losing a bit of himself and becoming Jason without realizing it. And then his mind just goes and he fully becomes Jason right. I believe probably sometime after he killed the kids inside the house. I believe it was during that time when he put the bodies in Tommy's room. but and then he just comes back, which is a huge mistake. And then he gets killed, and he got killed because, you know, when Tommy came back, that's where you go, okay, that's not Tommy. Now, even, I mean, you literally have to kill Tommy, kill Pam, kill Reggie, and somehow find a way to frame Tommy still? How are you going to do that? He's going to be dead.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to. The sheriff, I don't believe, is just going to say it's Jason. You know, they're going to look for a copycat. But once Roy returns, that's the mistake he makes, coming back to kill Pam and Reggie. Really, if he just goes, if he just stays away and doesn't kill his partner, like if his partner and him just, he doesn't kill his partner and he comes back and it's they see Tommy return and they just arrest Tommy, what's going to happen? They're going to arrest Tommy for the murders. I mean, who else are they blaming at that point?
Exactly.
They're not blaming Roy, but Roy has lost his mind though too, and it's really well done too. I mean, by the writers. The writers did a great job of turning Roy Burns into Jason in every way. You know, and Pamela too. You know, you guys made a great point about he mimicked Pamela too. But where he really becomes Jason is during the murders of the kids in the house and leaving the bodies there, but then coming back. When he comes back, I mean, his mind is not his.
No.
He's checked out permanently.
Yep, I agree. And that's one thing that I really love about this movie is that it's so different. And actually, this is, of all the Friday the 13th movies, this is my third favorite. I love, I mean, and I hate that it gets so panned because, you know, well, it's not Jason, but I mean, look at what you've got. I mean, I love horror movies that make you think. And this one, you know, really keeps picking at your brain when, you know, when you see it, you go back and watch it again and you keep putting things together. And I love the mystery element to it. And, you know, Roy was enough of a background character to where he blended in and, you know, nobody suspected him. And it was just it was just great seeing them build the killer.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, what did you think?
What was the question again? Sorry about that.
Oh, what did you think about Roy Burns as the killer?
Oh, I actually like that idea. Yeah, sorry about forgetting what the question was.
It's all right. I'll say this, that it was really cool to have all these little characters in this movie and to slowly watch how things started to go downhill and and it wasn't that slow. It was very fast. I like the guy on the motorcycle and how Tommy beats his ass.
Yeah.
I like how there's kind of a hint that it's a copycat killer. I don't know if you know what I mean, but you know those things that are usually red on his mask are actually blue in this.
Yeah.
And I missed that again on the first watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, those hillbillies. I mean, they did a lot to frame Tommy as well.
No one likes Tom.
No. Oh my gosh, the hillbillies, like the mom and the son, they were oh boy, they were they were something else. They looked like it was almost like Friday the 13th meets Hee Haw. So
Yeah.
it was just, oh man, they were they did a good job of being, as backwoods as you could be.
You ever see Deliverance?
Oh yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you guys both my theory about that movie. Deliverance is actually, in my opinion, a spy movie. And here's why I say this. Whose idea is it to go camping? It's Burt Reynolds' idea to go on this trip. He takes in fact, who invites these two people on this trip? Burt Reynolds' character. So he invites his two friends on this trip. Perfect cover, right? Perfect. Hey, take my two buddies down canoeing, right? Down, take our bows. We'll do a little hunt. Perfect cover. I think who invents the cover story? Burt Reynolds. When they start getting into trouble with those hillbillies, he's the one who comes up with it. And he's the first one who actually kills one of the hillbillies. I think he was sent there to kill them. I think he knew what they were doing down there, or knew of what they were doing down there, and was sent to kill them. It's really interesting when you watch because they're on this trip seemingly together, but Burt Reynolds' character is very, very quick with a lot of things, and it's when he comes up with that cover story, and even at the end, he says, "Did you stick to this cover story?" And he goes, "Yes." And notice the sheriff who has a cousin, or the sheriff of this story. I think he even realizes there's something about Reynolds' character, because he says to John Voight's character, don't ever come down here and do this again. Don't ever come down here again. It's really weird. It's a weird movie, don't get me wrong. But and not for the reasons of what's in the movie, just the characters in general are strange.
Yeah. Very.
They are. I mean, Reynolds' character, I won't say John Voight's character, but Reynolds' character is really strange. Like he seems like he's there for another reason. And then the reason just happens the way it does. And you notice too, he goes off somewhere while his friends are going to the bathroom, I think, and then they end up in trouble. I think he used them as bait for the hillbillies.
Yeah,
I can see that.
But go watch it. Let me know what you guys think. Because I'm going to get you guys' opinion on it, but it's really weird. It's really weird. Any thoughts, questions about Friday the 13th Part 5?
Not that I can think of.
I just want to say that I think that this cast of the kids, I think that they're like the coolest and best bunch that we've seen in a while. I love Violet with her funky hair and like those pop lock robot dance moves she was doing, and I can't remember her name, but I know the actress's name was Deborah Voorhees. I liked her character. I like the guy that was Tommy, Reggie, and Demon. Yeah, I mean, I think this had such a great bunch of characters. And, I would just say to anybody that, really give this a chance, because this movie does a lot that the other ones does not do. And each time I watch it, I enjoy it more and more.
Okay, here's your cast. John Shepard is Tommy. Susan Bateman is Nurse Yates. Melanie Kahneman is Pam.
Pam.
Pam Roberts. Shavar Ross is Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Young is Dr. Matt Leonard. Marco St. John is Sheriff Tucker. Juliet Cummings is Robin.
Uh-huh.
Carol Lochte is Ethel. Bob D. Simone is Billy. Vernon Washington is George. I believe that's Reggie's grandpa. John Robert Dixon is Eddie. Jay Palin is Jake. William Kasky Swam is Duke. Mark Venturney is Vic. Anthony Barley is Vinny. So that's your cast for the most part. What's your favorite kill in this movie, guys?
Well, I would say this might sound like a contradiction, but I would say when Joey gets killed, and I know like I was talking against it, but the reason why I'm gonna say this is my favorite is, it could actually bother someone. So, it could actually, kind of mess with your emotions a little bit. That's what isn't, I feel that was intentional because, it kind of gives you a way to sympathize with Roy.
Yeah. Mark?
My favorite kill in this is absolutely the most disgusting kill, and it's Demon when he was in the outhouse. That was just, that whole scene was like he had so many enchiladas and his stomach was making these awful noises, and he's out there they're singing to each other while massive diarrhea just is going everywhere. And then Jason goes through, or Roy cuts through the outhouse and kills him. I mean, it's disgusting, but I don't know, I just love that kill.
Oh my god. Good. Yeah, I actually like how they did the motorcycle kill.
Mm-hmm.
And where he just takes the guy's head off as he's driving around.
Yeah, it's Billy, I think. Yeah.
It's really cool. That's my favorite in the movie. I will say though too, when you watch the house kills,
Mm-hmm.
my definitely favorite is is when the girls dance.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Good movie. I mean, overall,
Yes.
it's very enjoyable and it's very entertaining. What do you guys give this? 1 out of 10?
I'd say 7 out of 10.
I want to go 9 out of 10.
I'm going to give this a solid 8.5. It really, I don't have too many problems with it. My only real big issue with this, I sort of wish they would have found a way to not reveal Roy's face at the beginning. Now, for those who've watched it first time, might not catch it, but as fans, we go back and we watch this movie probably a ton of times. Again, great movie. It's a lot of fun. A really great tribute to Pamela Voorhees is this movie, honestly, and it's a lot more fun for it. But just simply an enjoyable movie. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Doesn't have to be this movie. Any other horror topics before we get going?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
No.
I may have already asked this before in another discussion, but what do you think they're gonna do with Halloween?
Mark, I'll let you answer that one first. No pressure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I know all this. No, I would love, Jewel and I had a video about this last week where we were talking about things that we would I guess, directions that we would like to see it go. And one of the things that I brought up was that I would love to see from Halloween 4, where the minister picks up Loomis as the hitchhiker, and he was talking about the shape that he's been chasing for over 30 years. And I would love to see a series about what he was going after. And I think that would be a good way to make a series. You know, you could make probably at least a couple of seasons out of that.
Oh yeah, that does sound like a good idea, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you like to see it go, Daniel?
I would personally like to see a continuation of Resurrection, or at least H2O, because I really hate ignoring sequels. Like, that's something that actually annoys me. But you know, there's the Blumhouse trilogy, and let's be honest, most people probably want to forget about ends. And in my opinion, they probably will ignore ends anyway because of how people don't like it. And you know, also, you know, the ending kind of gives it kind of ends in a way that there's no really way to continue. But I could see them just ignoring the Blumhouse movies entirely if it goes to another studio, because maybe another studio doesn't want to, you know, acknowledge the movies they didn't make. But if they can't continue Resurrection, I wouldn't mind a remake if it's like, say, like, I want to be faithful to the original, but still take place in modern times. Like instead of like Linda having being choked with a regular phone, like she would have a cell phone, and Mike Myers would just choke her normally.
Yeah. If they continue Resurrection, which I'm with you on this, I'd like to see a sequel to Resurrection. Start it very simply. You hear faint breathing, you see the eyes open, you hear first thing you hear is somebody gagging, and you see we're Michael. The audience is Michael. The eyes open, you see the hands around the woman's neck. And then you see the sit up. We're basically Michael Myers, and we're killing this woman. That's how it should start off. And then he kills the guy for walking in. He snaps his neck. And then that's where the camera turns and you see Michael, and the face is burnt and the mask is burnt, and he just walks off after killing 2 people. And then it's decision time. Do you admit that Michael Myers is still alive, or do they cover it up? And they decide to cover it the fuck up and say he died. They lie. They lie their ass off. Because who the hell wants to admit they fucked up? Nobody. So Michael is out there killing, and no one realizes it. Most people think he's dead, and he doesn't just go to Haddonfield. He kills other places on Halloween, and he walks and walks, and until finally he comes to a town on Halloween and he kills some people. What really changes Haddonfield's history is when he does come to Haddonfield one more time and kills a bunch of kids. Kills like 9 kids. And I don't mean teenagers, I mean little kids. And that's why a lot of people leave the town finally and close up business. I would say town has about well over 1,000 people in it, maybe 2,000. The town of Haddonfield would only have residents of 300 people in it. By the time Michael gets done, that many people decide to move. And like I said, have a character that's sort of like Roy Schreider's character from Jaws, where they're in a bad neighborhood or in a bad town, and they hear about Haddonfield, and they know the truth about it, but they don't tell their wife, they don't tell their kids. They see how low the property is, and they buy because they figure, I'd rather face a killer than face, a gang full of people, or to have my kids live on the floor where there's bullets going through the windshield every goddamn day. I'll take my chances. And literally, you would have somebody do that shit too. because hey, life happens. I'd sort of like to see a character like that move to Haddonfield, and then the wife's like, wait a minute, what the fuck is this? Why is this town so empty? And then he has to tell her, and then, are you serious? Are you fucking joking? Oh, really? You want to go back to where we were living? He goes, why do you think I bought this gun? He goes, I'd rather take my chances with this serial killer, thinking it's not as hard as, as they're making it out, this town's making it out to be. And the one person tells him, listen, leave, just go. There's not much left in this town. The town's pretty much all but done. But the few people who are there, some of them do want to stay, but some of them, they teeter. And that's really this thing you could play with Halloween. Here's the thing, too. Make sure Michael's not just taking it all on Haddonfield. He's killing other places. And what brings John Tate to Haddonfield is he did try to live a normal life. And two years prior to Michael attacking Haddonfield again, he went after John and Molly, and he killed Molly and a lot of John and Molly's new friends. And this is why John Tate came to Haddonfield, to find Michael Myers 2 years later. But we'll see what they do. Yeah, I agree with you, though, too, Killenberg. If they remake it in modern times. Remake it in modern times. And for God's sake, literally, for God's sakes, the characters don't have to be named Laurie or Dr. Sam Loomis. I'm just saying. They don't. It'll be really interesting to see what they do. I'll be excited. I mean, whatever they do, be sure what path you wanted to go down, because I feel that's been the biggest issues too. With Rob's, they rebooted a sister connection that was already in existence, right? With the trilogy, with Blumhouse's trilogy, I feel at times they said they didn't want to do the sister connection, but yet you have Laurie Strode who's saying, "Oh, he's coming after my family," and I get that it wasn't a sister connection, but a line like that sort of feels like you were teetering with your own story, and that's not something I really care for, because, hey, here's the thing: what's Haddonfield, guys? It's a small town. What's something that Sheriff Brackett says? No one's lived in it since no one lived in the Myers house since the murder happened. Well, okay, if no one lived in the house since the murder happened in 1978, that means that Laurie's dad bought the house from who? The Myers, the parents. So it's a small town. Maybe Laurie's father knew Michael's parents.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
You know, small towns, people generally know each other or know of each other, but it's crazy. All right, guys, is there anything you want to add before we get on out of here?
I'm good, man. Thank you guys so much. It's been great talking to you both.
I'm good too. It's been great talking to you guys too.
It's lots of fun, guys. Friday the 13th, Part 5. Check it out. Really good movie. Mark, you have a good night. Daniel, you have a good night. You guys take care.
Take care, bro. Bye.
Yep, bye.